Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimate Radhanatha Swami Niti Namine. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimate Jayapataka Swami Niti Namine. Nama Acharya Padaya Nitai Kripa Pradayane Gaura Katha Dhamadaya Nagara Grama Tarine. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. We'd like to welcome our YouTube Live, Facebook Live, and Zoom listeners to day 18 of Shri Vrajamandal Parikrama. Can we have the slideshow, please? Yesterday, we had ecstatic celebrations of Shri Govardhan Puja. And many of you wonderfully messaged us saying how much you loved the entire Annakuta festival, where everyone was coming and offering their bhoga to Shri Giriraj Govardhan Lal Ki Jai. And so today, from Barsana, we continue and move to NandaGaon. After 3 days of blissful stay at Shri Barsana Dham. Today, we'll walk from Barsana to NandaGaon. On the way, we'll go to Prema Sarovar, Sanket Gram, Uddhav Kyari, Nanda Baithak, Bilau, Nandeshwar Mahadev, and then we'll go to Krishna Balaram Mandir, Pavan Sarovar, Vrinda Kunda, and then have darshan of Krishna's lotus footprints. Today is a very small walk from Barsana to NandaGaon. It's around 10 kilometers. So next slide, please. As you can see here, that we are on the top from Barsana to NandaGaon. Very small, if we would have continued from Khadiravan, it would have been much faster, but we came back to Barsana for Govardhan Puja, and then going back that route to NandaGaon. Next slide, please. As you can see, from Barsana to NandaGaon, there are so many wonderful places. Prem Sarovar, Sanket Gram, near which there is Gopal Bhatta Goswami's Bhajan Kutir. Gopal Bhatta Goswami, who, because of whose love Shri Shri Radha Raman was manifested. And then we go to NandaGaon. Next slide, please. Now, as we are walking, chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra and having Lord Shri Shri Gaurnitai, Lord Gauranga lead us from Barsana to NandaGaon. Shri Nandagram Ki Jai. Next slide, please. So our first stop will be this beautiful pond, Sarovar, called Prema Sarovar. You can see there are so many ghats here. So wonderfully it's been decorated with so many of its tributaries coming out. And this is Prem Sarovar. Maharaj would go and sit on inside one of these little kunja, and all the devotees would be surrounding this entire Prem Sarovar, and Radharaman Maharaj would give class about the manifestation of this Prem Sarovar, how it was formed by the tears of Srimati Radharani and Lord Krishna when they cried in separation from each other.
So Srila Radharaman Maharaj very beautifully describes this pastime. On the appearance, of how, the Prem Sarovar, how did it manifest? So we will try to share that katha with all of you. Next slide, please. It is said that one time Sri Dama, Krishna, and Srimati Radharani, three of them were sitting at this outskirts of Barsana. This Prem Sarovar is on the outskirts in a little forest area just on the outskirts of Barsana. So that time there was no Sarovar. So, Krishna, Srimati Radharani, and little Madhumangala, they were all sitting, all three of them were sitting. And then, Srimati Radharani, it is said that this pastime appears in the Govinda Lilamrita. It is said that Srimati Radharani, from her, transcendental body, there's an, an intoxicating kind of fragrance that manifests. And when that fragrance manifests from her transcendental body, it is said that the bees, the bumblebees that surround, nearby flowers, they start thinking, where is this intoxicating smell coming from? Such a beautiful smell. And they just get captivated and they think that Srimati Radharani's lotus face is, a small flower, a beautiful golden delicate flower. They mistake Srimati Radharani's face. The bumblebees are illusioned that they think Srimati Radharani's lotus face to be that of a flower. And they come and they just, they try to, suck the honey from Srimati Radharani's lotus face. And seeing the honeybee was, the bumblebee was, roaming around Srimati Radharani's face, Radharani was, getting a little disturbed. So she was just doing this. When she was doing like this, that time, the little boy, Sridama, sometimes it says it's Sridama, sometimes it says it's Mangala. So either of them. So one of the boys, he just saw that Srimati Radharani is getting disturbed by this little bumblebee. So then he just, came with a little, flower. He took a flower and then he just fanned that little bumblebee away. And you can see in this picture that he just started chasing that bumblebee away from Srimati Radharani. You can see on the top that the bumblebee is flying away and, Madhumangala is running behind that bumblebee with his stick, that don't disturb my Radharani, don't disturb her. So then as soon as he, chased the bumblebee away, he came back and he said to Srimati Radharani, oh, I chased away Madhu, I chased away Madhu. A honeybee or a bumblebee in Hindi is called as Madhumakhi. It's a Madhu. So Sridama came back and just said, Madhumangal came back and said, oh, I just chased away Madhu. But Srimati Radharani, she started crying torrential tears. And then Krishna was shocked. Why are you crying, Radhe? Why are you crying? And then Radharani is saying, oh, my Madhu is gone. My Madhu is gone. How can my Madhu leave me and go? Krishna is sitting right next to her. And she's saying Madhu is gone because Srimati Radharani, when Madhu Mangala shouted that I chased away Madhu, maine Madhu ko bhaga diya, I chased away Madhu. Radharani thought that Madhusudana, Sri Krishna, is gone just by that one statement. And she was in so much of anxiety and tears that Krishna is gone, Krishna is gone. So Srila Radharaman Maharaj was explaining that this kind of love that Srimati Radharani is experiencing, although her beloved Sri Krishna is sitting personally right next to her, but still she is experiencing so much separation from Krishna just by hearing that one statement that Krishna has gone, Madhu has gone. She could not take it. She thought that Krishna has actually gone. So she was crying, and this is called as Prema Vaichitti. Prema Vaichitti means that although the beloved is right next to us, but when we feel intense separation from the beloved, even though the beloved is physically present right next to us, That is called as Prema Vaichitti. And that can be experienced only by Srimati Radharani. Only Srimati Radharani experiences this kind of intense love for Krishna. And Mangala was shocked to see Radharani crying like this, so he also ran away. But Krishna, he was telling Srimati Radharani, can we have the next slide, please? Radharani is crying, Radharani is crying, and Krishna is saying, Radhe, look, I am right here, next to you. Look, I'm sitting right here, right next to you. I've not gone anywhere. Next slide, please. Srimati Radharani is uncontrollably, she's just crying and crying, torrential tears in separation from Krishna. Such epitome of love is the personification of Srimati Radharani, that she's crying so much. Next slide, please. And she cried so much that she literally lost her consciousness. In her anxiety, she just fell unconscious, and she's crying. Even in her unconscious state, she's crying. And when she was crying like this, Krishna could not see Srimati Radharani crying. And he said, Krishna, Shri Radhe, look, I'm right here. I'm right here. But Radharani, she had already lost her consciousness. And then it is said that Shri Krishna, next slide, please. Krishna, he held the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani, and he could not tolerate Srimati Radharani crying like this. And he also started crying, streams and streams of ecstatic loving tears in love for Srimati Radharani. So it is said by their Prema Ashru, means their loving tears of ecstasy, this Prema Sarovar was manifested. So these waters that reside in the Prem Sarovar is nothing but the loving tears of Sri Sri Radha and Krishna.
Jai Shri Prem Sarovar ki jai.
Jai.
That is why this pastime is known as Prema Vaichitti. Chitta. Chitta means conscious. Conscious. Vaichitta means not conscious. Someone out of prema, out of love, when someone is not conscious that the lover is right there, that is Prema Vaichitti. So this Prema Vaichitti pastime, it is said in another kalpa, it happened in a different way, the manifestation of this Prema Sarovar. One time, Radharani was laying down on the lap of Sri Krishna. And Sri Krishna was just very lovingly at this place where Prem Sarovar is manifested. He was just caressing her hair, and with the soft touch of Krishna on Radharani's hair, that loving touch, Srimati Radharani, she fell asleep. She went deep into sleep. And Krishna was lovingly glancing and gazing at Srimati Radharani, making sure, caring for her very caringly, that she doesn't wake up, that she sleeps nicely. And suddenly, Srimati Radharani just woke up from deep sleep and she started crying, Krishna, Krishna, where are you? Where are you? And she started looking here and there. And Krishna said, Radhe, I'm here. I'm right in front of you. What happened? No, I saw a dream. I saw a dream, and in that dream, and she started crying before she could even complete the sentence. I saw a dream where you left me. In fact, you left all of us in Vrindavan. You left all the gopis and you went out of Vrindavan. Krishna said, that was just a dream. I'm right here in front of you. But Srimati Radharani started crying and she's saying, no, but maybe in future it'll happen like this. This dream has come. Krishna, so many times he tried to explain, Radharani, don't worry. I'm not leaving. I'm right here in front of you. Dream is just a dream. This is reality. And Srimati Radharani continued saying, no, but in future, this is Bhavi dream, which means in future this may happen, Bhavi Swapna. And just the fact that there is a possibility of this happening, I'm crying and crying and I cannot stop crying. Next slide, please. And seeing, next slide, please. Seeing Srimati Radharani crying so piteously, just at the possibility that someday it might happen that Krishna may leave me. Krishna also started crying, seeing Srimati Radharani cry. Next slide, please. And as they were crying through their Prema Shru, through their loving tears, this Prem Sarovar was manifested at this exact place. Shri Prem Sarovar ki jai. So let us take bath in this Prem Sarovar, which is made out of the tears of love of Srimati Radharani and Shri Krishna both together. We sprinkle 3 drops, or we can dive deep into this tears of prema.
Jai
Shri
Shri
Prema
Prem
Sarovar
Sarovar
ki
ki
jai.
jai.
And pray that please allow us a glimpse into your loving hearts, so that we can offer our hearts to you and assist you, and this and your servants of your servants of your servants, in always make pleasing you and making you happy. Hare
Hare
Krishna. So we go to the next slide, from the slide that we were in. Thank you so
Jai
much.
Shri Prem Sarovar ki
Jai.
jai. So then we continue our walk towards NandaGaon and we come to the midpoint. The midpoint means it is exactly in the center is a village called as Sanket. Now this Sanket is exact halfway between NandaGaon on one side and Barsana on the other side. The reason why it is called as Sanket, Sanket in Hindi means to indicate. So here, Srimati Radharani's home is Barsana and NandaGaon is the home of Krishna. So Vrinda Devi and all the Sakhas and the Sakhis, they would plan that, okay, where are we going to meet? Where are we going to arrange for the rendezvous of Radha and Krishna today? Where will they meet today? Let's plan, let's plan. They would plan. And then how to, send them the message to both of them, to Radharani in Barsana, to NandaGaon and Krishna, how to send both of them the message. So it is said that the Sakhas and the Sakhis and Vrinda Devi, the parrots, the peacocks, all entire Braj, they would give different kinds of indications standing here at this village, that which is going to be their meeting point of today's pastime. That whether they will meet at Radhakund, or they will meet at one of the caves in Govardhan, or they will meet in Vilasgarh, or they will meet in, Mansarovar, wherever they will meet. The indication was given from this particular place. Next slide, please. That Srimati Radharani and Krishna, where they would come together. Where are we going to arrange for their most intimate and their most beautiful pastimes? Which forest grove are we going to go and arrange? So both these, the divine couple, they need to know where to come. So Krishna will go out herding the cows. Srimati Radharani has to come to NandaGaon to cook for Krishna. So after they finish all their duties, then where do they meet? So this was the place where the Sakhas, the Sakhis, Vrinda Devi, they would arrange and indicate that this is the meeting place for today. Next slide, please. And then Srimati Radharani and Krishna, they would meet at the designated area where they have indicated, and they would, immerse with the Sakhas and the Sakhis, and they would all enjoy beautiful, beautiful, blissful pastimes in the forest groves of Sri Vrindavan Dham. Next slide, please.
So now we come from Sanket to this place, Uddhava Kyari. It is currently a grove of bushes, thorns, kadamba trees, but the whole pastime is like this. Krishna, he left Vrindavan, he left the Vrajvasis, and they became lifeless in separation from Krishna. So one day in Dwarka, Krishna sent Uddhava, go to Vrindavan and give this solace, message of solace to my gopis and the residents of all the residents of Vrindavan, because I know they are in separation from me. And Uddhava, you look just like me. So seeing me, seeing you, they will remember me and they will feel pacified. So Uddhava said, my dear Krishna, why don't you yourself go and just pacify them and come back? Krishna said, I'm afraid. I'm afraid that if I go, I may not be able to come back because of their love. Therefore, I want you to go there. Now, Krishna had multiple purposes for sending Uddhava as well, and it'll be revealed in this pastime. But he wanted to send a solace, a message of solace. So Uddhava said, all right, as you say, I've always been your servant. I will follow whatever you say.
And now we see how here Krishna is sitting so elegantly on his throne, and Uddhava is none other than the cousin of Krishna. And he knows that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but he was on the level of Jnana Mishra Bhakti. He was on the level of not pure loving service to Krishna. So he out of his jnana, he was the student of Brihaspati, direct disciple of Brihaspati, who is the chief, who is the priest of the demigods. That was Uddhava. Uddhava was his disciple, Brihaspati Shishya. So he was a very, very qualified. So you can see here, just make a note, a mental note in your minds, that here Uddhava is sitting on the same platform as Krishna, on the same throne. Literally both of them are sitting on the same throne, same, like a sofa, like a love seat. Both of them are sitting on the same platform. Uddhava is sitting, and Krishna is telling him, please go to Vrindavan. So Uddhava got this, mission that from Krishna. Krishna gave him separate letters for Nanda Baba, Jashoda Maya, for all the Brajbasis, for the elderly gopis, the elderly gopas, for his sakhas. He gave a separate letter, and he gave a separate letter for the gopis. So all of them, Uddhava was carrying. He was the messenger of Krishna's love for the Brajbasis. So Uddhava came on his chariot. And when he was coming on the chariot, when he was on the outskirts of NandaGaon, when he came on the outskirts, it is said that Uddhava got down from the chariot and he offered his obeisances to the land and the holy dust of Sri Vrajabhumi. And then Uddhava saw that there were some cowherd men who were, working in the field over there. And then he asked, can you come here 1 minute? I am new here. And these cowherd men, as soon as they saw Uddhava, they said, is this Krishna? At this point, can we briefly stop the presentation? And we can resume back again from here. If we can just stop the presentation, and if we can, thank you very much. So the cowherd men who were in the fields working, at that time when they saw Uddhava, they first said, oh, is it Krishna? Did Krishna come back? Because Uddhava looks so much like Krishna. But then they immediately realized, no, because Uddhava also had, Krishna left in a chariot, Uddhava came back in the chariot. So they were, at first they said, oh, is it Krishna? They were so excited, Krishna is here, Krishna is here. It was not Krishna. So then they said, yes, you look so much like Krishna. Are you his cousin? So then Uddhava said, yes, my name is Uddhava, and I have come with a message for all of you. Krishna has sent me as a messenger for all of you. But I need to know, how can I find the home of Nanda Baba and Jashoda Maiya? How can I find that home? Can you please direct me how to go to the home of Nanda Baba and Jashoda Maiya? So the cowherd men, they said, yes, yes, we will show you how to go to Nanda Baba's house. It's very easy. Do you see this little, this canal, Neher? Neher means like a stream of water, a stream. A small stream is called as Neher. Neher means like, just like a stream is flowing down. So then the Brajbasi, the cowherd men, they said, you see this Neher, this stream of water? You just walk along this stream of water, and where this stream ends, that palace is there. That is the home of Nanda Baba and Jashoda Maiya. So Uddhava, he said, really, but, I just crossed the Jamuna and I came here. So this Neher, this stream of water, is it a branch of the Jamuna? Is it, from where is this water stream coming? And the cowherd men, they started crying and they said, no, 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 my dear Uddhava, this is not Jamuna, this is not Jamuna. This is nothing but the loving tears of Jashoda Maiya and Nanda Baba. Since the day that Krishna left, they have been crying and crying and crying. And because of their crying, this little stream of water has now become permanent in NandaGaon. So you follow the stream, you will reach their home. So Uddhava was shocked that how can someone be in so much love with Krishna? So Uddhava, he just took this, the water from the stream on his head. He sprinkled on his head and he just started walking along the stream. He started walking and he came and arrived. And as the cowherd men had said, where the stream ended, he saw that they said that is the palace of Nanda Baba. But that looked like a haunted house. It looked like a haunted mansion. There were cobwebs everywhere. There was no light. It was dark. It was as if nobody is living there. It was like looking like a graveyard. It was looking haunted place. So Uddhava just opened the gate. There was dust all over, cobwebs all over. And then, he just opened. He was, clearing out all the cobwebs and he came inside. He was, the door was open. And he came inside, he was calling out, Nanda Baba, Jashoda Maiya, Nanda Baba. He was calling out like this, and then he saw that there was one frail, very, very hunchback, very thin, old lady. Her hair was all, scattered all around, and, she was not even able to walk properly. She had a stick in her hand and she was coming. And she very softly said, who is it? Who is it? Then Uddhava, he had seen Mother Jashoda before and he could not even recognize her. What happened to Mother Jashoda? That youthful body of Mother Jashoda was vanquished. She had nothing, no, her skin and bone, there was no flesh in between. She had become so frail, so old and so worn out. That was the condition of Mother Jashoda. Uddhava could not tolerate looking at Mother Jashoda in that state. And she was crying and she was crying. And then Uddhava just, offered his prostrated obeisances. And Mother Jashoda, as soon as she saw Uddhava, she at first had a twinkle in her eye because she was immediately reminded of her beautiful little Kanha. But then she immediately again started crying that, you are Uddhava. Yes, my dear Uddhava. And Uddhava just embraced Mother Jashoda. Nanda Baba came out. He was also very weak, very much in tears, and he came and embraced Uddhava. And Mother Jashoda, she said, Uddhava, sit, please sit. What shall I bring for you? There is nothing in the house. We just survive, just on some wind, and sometimes some Brajbasis, they come and give us something, but we don't feel like eating. And look at my kitchen. Uddhava was seeing everywhere in the house. It didn't look as if two people are living there. That was the condition of the house. So Mother Jashoda was not cooking, not doing anything. And Mother Jashoda, when Uddhava came, she wanted to, properly receive Uddhava. It is mentioned that she went out and she couldn't even walk. But she went out and she just, informed her friends that, please, can you give me little sweet rice? Because Uddhava has come. Krishna's friend and cousin has come. I want to give him something. So please give me something. So then the Brajbasi ladies, they brought some kheer, sweet rice. And Mother Jashoda, her hands trembling, she came and gave that bowl of sweet rice to Uddhava. Uddhava honored that sweet rice with great relish, and then he started reading out the letter that Krishna sent in the name of Nanda Baba and Jashoda Maiya, assuring them that he will be meeting them very, very soon. And, listening to that, Mother Jashoda and Nanda Baba were very, very happy that yes, Krishna is saying that he will come, he will come. We have faith that Krishna will come. He will keep his promise. He will definitely come. So that night, Uddhava stayed in the house of Nanda Baba and Jashoda Maiya, and the next day morning, Uddhava met the Brajbasis. He read out the letter of Krishna to the Brajbasis. And then, can we have the slides back again, please? And then Uddhava, he met with the gopis. Next slide, please. Uddhava met with the gopis and he started reading Krishna's letter, Krishna's message to the gopis and Srimati Radharani. And when Uddhava was reading the message, the gopis, they were just, Srimati Radharani, she was not even interested in listening to that message. And next slide, please. She was, in fact, talking to that little bumblebee. You can see Srimati Uddhava is reading his letter of Krishna to the other gopis, but Srimati Radharani, she is talking to that bumblebee as if it is Krishna. That, my dear Krishna, you are such a, cheater. You think that you have gone to Mathura, you have forgotten us. How could you forget us, Krishna? And you have sent this letter. What will I do with your letter? I want you. And then at one point she said, oh, this Madhumakhi, this honeybee, it is you. And at one point she said, no, it is actually the messenger. I'm sending you as the messenger. Go to Mathura and tell Krishna that we are missing him. We need to see him. So Srimati Radharani is talking to this bumblebee. And Uddhava, witnessing this extreme love, next slide, please. This amazing love that the gopis have for the gopis and Srimati Radharani have for Krishna. Here also you can see another depiction of Srimati Radharani speaking to the honeybee, to the bumblebee, and Uddhava is reading his message to the gopis, Krishna's message to the gopis. Where Radharani is, in Prema Vaichitti, she is in Prema Vaichitti. She is just remembering her beloved Sri Krishna. Next slide, please. So then witnessing, the intense love of the gopis, that what love, what amazing, level of love these gopis have for Krishna. It is unsurmountable. It is incomprehensible. And Uddhava could immediately realize that this is the purpose for which Krishna sent me here to Vrindavan, so that I can witness this kind of prema bhakti, this kind of spontaneous love for Krishna that I can witness. That's why, Krishna, you have sent me here. So thus, witnessing this intense love of the gopis of the Brajavadhus. Next slide, please. Uddhava, he prayed that he desired to receive the dust of the lotus feet of the gopis upon his head. And he just said that, please, you just, all of you, put the dust of your lotus feet on my head. And the gopi said, no, 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 no. We are the most unfortunate. We are the most horrible people on earth. Uddhava said, why are you saying like that? He said, if we are not the most unfortunate, why would Krishna leave us? And he's there with you in Dwarka. Look, he has left us. We are the most unfortunate. We are supposed to die, but we are so horrible that we are not dying also. That is how horrible we are. And you want our dust. They were just remembering Krishna, and they were just, you can see how the gopis, they're fainting in ecstasy. They're remembering Krishna. And Uddhava, he just said that I only desire to receive the dust of the lotus feet of the gopis upon my head. Therefore, Uddhava desired to continue to remain in Sri Vrindavan Dham as a blade of grass, as Lata Gulma, as a creeper, Gulma Lata, as a creeper, so that one day the Vrajavadhus will put their dust of their lotus feet, they will step on me, and that way my desire of getting their dust upon my head will be fulfilled. So this place where Uddhava met with the gopis. Next slide, please.
This is called Uddhava Kyari, this place. Kyari means like a bush, where he read that letter from Krishna, that Krishna had written there. So we are fortunate to touch the dust on which the gopis, in their intense Vipralamba Bhava, the bhava of separation, the mood of separation, they rolled and cried in the same dust when Uddhava spoke the letter. So let's roll in the dust of Uddhava Kyari. And this is not the time that we hesitate. What will happen to our dress? What will happen to my dhoti or kurta or sari or whatever? This is the place of highest perfection, the tears of love rolling in this dust. So let us roll in this dust of Sri Vrajadham, where the gopis cried, showered their tears on this dust, and they themselves rolled in this dust. We are not this body, we are the soul. When we are rolling this body on this dust of Sri Vrajadham, it directly reaches our soul and connects us to that eternal love, which is the goal of life, which is the only purpose of our life, not any status, not any prestige, not any power, purely what the gopis, simple, pure love. Next slide, please. And then this is Sri Uddhavaji. So we pay obeisances to Lord Uddhava. Sri Uddhava, praying to him to allow us to have that humility to realize the love of the gopis. And that humility, with that humility, Sri Uddhava said, I want to be a blade of grass in Vrindavan so I can forever have the dust of Lord Krishna's lotus feet.
Next slide. Next slide, please. And then Uddhava, when he returned back to Dwarka, let's see how Uddhava, can we see how Uddhava, it's the same throne, same Krishna, but different Uddhava. Uddhava is completely transformed into a Prema Bhakta. He is falling at the lotus feet of Sri Krishna, that Krishna, your magic, you are a magician, Krishna, to helplessly fall in love with you. If that needs to be witnessed, we need to be in Sri Vrajadham to witness the love of the Vrajavadhus, of the Vrajagopikas, of Srimati Radharani. Then I am so thankful to you, Krishna. Uddhava is saying to Krishna that I'm so thankful that you sent me there. And from Jnana Mishra Bhakti now, I can at least know that the highest kind of love is spontaneous, pure, unalloyed devotion to you that the gopis have for you. So Krishna, please bless me with that kind of prema bhakti. And only you can allow me to give me, only by your mercy I can get that prema bhakti. So Uddhava here is falling at the lotus feet of Krishna and begging for prema bhakti. So this is the transformation of the great and wonderful devotee, Shri Uddhava Ji ki jai. So just like Uddhava was transformed, we also beg at the lotus feet of Shri Krishna that Krishna may also allow us our, stone-like hearts to melt, so that we can also pray to their lordship, so that we may be also be blessed with pure prema bhakti. Jai Shri Purushottam Bhagwan Shri Krishna Kanhaiya Lal ki jai.
Next slide, please. From Uddhava Kyari, we come to this wonderful place of Nanda Baithak. If you see on top, there is a picture of Nanda Maharaj with Krishna and Balaram. This is how he would sit in the court with Krishna and Balaram on his lap and give very, very serious judgments. He would sit with other community leaders, discuss important places. We saw the similar mood in another place in Kamyavan, in Chaurasi Khamba, where Nanda Maharaj's court is there. He would do the same thing there as well. It's a place in NandaGaon where Nanda Maharaj, he would sit together, discuss about the welfare. Next slide, please. This next slide is a close-up of the same picture that we just saw and the deity that is here. It's a very, very special place. Here, all the cowherd men, they would come with exclusive devotion for the pleasure of Krishna and Balaram, and they would plan out all of the wonderful, wonderful arrangements so that the whole NandaGaon can be managed. So let's pray here with a very humble heart. Next slide, please. That every arrangement and every plan that we make in our own life is always centered on serving and giving pleasure to Krishna and his devotees. Shri Krishna Bhagavan ki jai, Nanda Maharaj ki
jai.
Next slide, please. Now we come to this little forest area where there is how Bilau. One day, Krishna and Balaram, they were playing in this place near Yashoda Kund with their friends. Then it was time to come to home to take their lunch, and Mother Yashoda sent Rohini. Rohini went, Krishna, Balaram, let's go. Come home. Your lunch is waiting for you. It's getting cold. Nanda Maharaj is coming. He is waiting for you. But then Krishna and Balaram, they heard Rohini, but they were so engrossed in playing. Yes, we'll come. And they were having so much fun with their friends that they just ignored Mother Rohini. Next slide, please. So Mother Rohini went and told Yashoda Mai. So engrossed they are, playing with cows, playing with friends. This Rohini said, they just don't listen to me. I don't know what should I do. So Yashoda Mai said, all right, I'll take a look at this. She came and she began to order, Krishna, you come back now. But then Krishna's friend told him, Krishna became a little bit surprised. Yashoda is calling. I have to go. And so, but the friends told, next slide, if you go, we will not play with you tomorrow because you will ruin our game and you will go in the middle. And he said, but Maya, Yashoda is calling. Rohini Mata already came. Let me go. So yeah, you go, but then we won't play with you tomorrow. So Krishna, he was afraid of being banned from playing. So he continued playing. And Yashoda Maya was pleading with Krishna, sometimes pleading, sometimes chastising. Come back, come, Krishna, Balaram. Will you not listen to me? And then sometimes, Krishna, I'm just tired. See, such nice food stuff, such nice lunch I've made. You like laddu? I've made nice laddus and look. And then still he's not responding. Krishna, Nanda Maharaj. Nanda Maharaj will come home anytime. Anytime he will come, he will ask me. I will say that I asked Krishna to come. But Krishna did not listen to me. And then finally, but Krishna was more scared of being banned from playing from his friends. He said, Mother Yashoda, I will somehow or other make her understand. But my friends, tomorrow, what will happen? So finally, Mother Yashoda said, what should I do? What should I do? I'm just concerned that Krishna is so hungry. I know he is hungry. But I cannot, Krishna and Balaram, I cannot allow them to be hungry. It's not good for their health. So she began to think. Then suddenly she got an idea. She said, oh, Krishna, Balaram, come right now. Come right now. Look who's behind, who's coming. How Bilau is coming. Krishna and Balaram said, what How Bilau? What is How Bilau? She said, he's coming, let's go. Yeah, but what's How Bilau? Yashoda Mata, she had fear in her eyes and she started running. How Bilau, he's walking on four legs. He's having such fierce eyes, big mouth. Don't look back, don't turn back. His teeth are very sharp. He eats little children. He's coming behind you. If you look back, he will eat you. Come. And Krishna and Balaram got so afraid. They started running, Maya Yashoda, Maya Yashoda. Next slide, please. Save me, save us from How Bilau, save us. And they started running, and Mother Yashoda started running also. Next slide, please. And then, actually, Mother Yashoda made up this imaginary creature that had the face of a lion, How, and the body of a cat, Bilau. How Bilau is lion and cat combined. And Krishna and Balaram, they in their minds, they made up this huge demon. Oh, this demon. And then Krishna and Balaram looked at her and said, yeah, Yashoda, should we really believe in this? He said, here he is, come. And with big red eyes, they started running without even looking back. Mother, wait for us. And then, next slide, please. They immediately came, ran, and Nanda Maharaj had already come home. There was lunch which was already prepared there. And they immediately sat and started eating very, very nicely. And Nanda Maharaj said, why did you come so late? Oh, Baba, you won't believe what we saw. And Balaram started saying, wow, we saw this huge monster. His name is How Bilau. And Krishna is telling Balaram, stop, I will tell. Krishna said, this How Bilau, Baba, he had red eyes, sharp teeth. He came after us and his mouth was salivating. He eats little children. And then we ran away, somehow or other ran away. And now we are here. Ah, they did not see anyone. They did not see anything. There is no one called How Bilau. And Mother Yashoda is laughing, is saying, what? You saw How Bilau? There is no How Bilau. But they are telling Baba, oh, Baba, we got saved just in the nick of time. So wonderful, so wonderful. Mother Yashoda saved us. And so then Mother Yashoda said, okay, this How Bilau works. So then she made these murtis of How Bilau. If you see in the beginning, he had the face of a lion and body of a cat. And there is this temple of How Bilau near NandaGaon. And when Krishna Balaram would be very mischievous, or they would not sleep or not eat on time, then Mother Yashoda used to scare. Khale beta, varna How Bilau aa jayega. Eat, otherwise How Bilau will come. And then they would become very nice. So even Krishna and Balaram, Supreme Personality of Godheads, they would fear How Bilau. This is the sweetness of the Leela of Shri Vrajadham.
Viva Jai How Bilau ki Jai. Krishna Kanhaiya Lal ki Jai. Viva. Next slide, please. So from here, you see how so cute Krishna and his mother Yashoda tricked even the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So how cute Krishna is in this picture. So let's take a complete darshan of, this was a close-up of Krishna's lotus face. Now let us take complete darshan of Krishna and Mother Jashoda. Next slide, please. This is how beautifully, Krishna is so attached to Mother Jashoda that whatever Mother Jashoda is saying, that Krishna would believe. And whatever Krishna would say, even that also Mother Jashoda would also believe. So this is the beautiful, loving relationship between Krishna and his beloved Mother Jashoda. Jai Jashoda Maya ki Jai. Krishna Kanhaiya Lal ki Jai.
Next slide, please. From here, we come to Nandeshwar Mahadev in NandaGaon. This Shivalinga is installed by King Vajranath. We pray to Lord Shiva to protect our devotion to Lord Krishna and allow us to completely depend on him, understanding he is our best well-wisher. Next slide, please. So this, from here, from Barsana, we were walking, and from how Bilau temple, Nandeshwar temple, we can see this wonderful view of NandaGaon on top of a hill. This is the place where Nanda Maharaj and all the Gokul Vasis came from Gokul to this hill, because in this hilly area, none of the demons would be, it'll be very difficult for them to reach. And so Krishna Balaram would be saved, would not be tormented by these demons. Next slide, please. This is the beautiful NandaGaon on top of a hill. And at the same time, from Gokul, of course, they came for some time to Chatikara and then came to this place, NandaGaon. This is a beautiful three-domed structure which is built in the 19th century, the palace of Sri Nanda Baba. Next slide, please. Here we offer our obeisances. This is the three-domed structure from the front. Next slide, please. We offer our obeisances to the deities of Sri Nanda Maharaj, Mother Yashoda, Krishna and Balaram. The shiny black Krishna and Balaram, they are very unique because, and then Krishna is standing right next to Mother Yashoda, Balaram next to Nanda Baba, Srimati Radharani is standing on the right of Mother Yashoda, and on the left of Nanda Baba are Krishna's two dear servitors, Dhansukha and Mansukha. Lord Shiva, here, he prayed to the Supreme Lord Krishna to please allow him to assist in his earthly pastimes in such a way that he can always have the lotus feet of the Lord and his devotees upon his head. So by the blessings of Lord Krishna, Lord Shiva has appeared as the Nandeshwar mountain in NandaGaon. This Nandeshwar mountain has 5 peaks, Panchamukhi Shiva, representing the 5 heads of Shiva. Like Lord Brahma, he made himself available as the mountain in Barsana with 4 heads. Here in NandaGaon, with 5 heads, Lord Shiva made himself available as in the service of the Lord as mountain in NandaGaon to be the home of Shri Krishna and Balaram.
So here we take darshan of this beautiful, beautiful NandaGaon temple, where in between Nanda Baba and Jashoda Maya are the 2 beautiful boys, Krishna and Balaram, and Srimati Radharani and Dhansukha and Mansukha. Jai Shri Shri Krishna Balaram ki Jai, Nanda Baba Jashoda Maya ki Jai. Haribol. Next slide, please. So here on the top of the temple, we see His Holiness Srila Radharaman Swami Maharaj giving a guided tour to the devotees. And the view from NandaGaon's, from this rooftop of the temple is amazing. We can see, where we will go tomorrow. We will see Ter Kadam. We see the More One. We see where, the forest where Krishna danced as a peacock. All these places are seen from from atop NandaGaon's palace. So Maharaj is actually showing, the devotees the places that are seen from the top of the hill. Next slide, please. So this is the view of the forests, after the homes and, the forest in the end over there is very, very beautiful view of the entire NandaGaon ki jai. Next slide, please. So next we come here from NandaGaon, we come to this beautiful Sarovar. This is the entrance gate of another very beautiful Sarovar, which is called as Pavan Sarovar. This is a very, very beautiful place. It's a very beautiful bathing area. Next slide, please. So let us take darshan of this very beautiful Pavan Sarovar. I mean, it's huge. It's a very, very huge place where we can very wonderfully, take bath. The water is really very nice. So please, let's not just sprinkle water on our head. Let us actually enter into the waters, because let's see why. Because Krishna and Balaram would be brought here every day. Nanda Baba would bring, next slide, please. See, Nanda Baba would put Krishna like this on his shoulders, and Nanda Baba would bring Krishna to Pavan Sarovar to take bath with him every single day.
So Nanda Baba would take Krishna on his shoulder, and Krishna would take this little birdie on his shoulder.
So this is how Krishna would come, Krishna Balaram, both of them. Next slide, please. Both of them would come to this Sarovar, and both of them would take bath along with Nanda Baba in this beautiful Pavan Sarovar. And then when Krishna was a little elderly, at that time, Sri Krishna would enjoy beautiful pastimes on the banks of the Pavan Sarovar with Srimati Radharani. Next slide, please. It is said that whenever Srimati Radharani would come to cook for Krishna at NandaGaon, then she would come to, fill the water over here at Pavan Sarovar, and Krishna would be waiting there to meet with Srimati Radharani and to have beautiful, loving pastimes. Sometimes they would meet, in the morning hours at Pavan Sarovar. Sometimes they would meet, in the evening times under the, beautiful moonlight in the Pavan Sarovar. Next slide, please. So Srimati Radharani, whenever she would come to fill pot, Krishna would somehow or the other manifest. You can see here, if you zoom out into this picture, you can see that Radharani is here, but she would come and she would wonder, how am I hearing Krishna's flute? Because Krishna would actually always come here and play his flute whenever Srimati Radharani would come to fill water from Pavan Sarovar. Next slide, please. And Sri Radha and Krishna, under the beautiful moonlight on the banks of the Pavan Sarovar, would enjoy beautiful, 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 intimate pastimes here in the banks of Pavan Sarovar. Jai Sri Radha Krishna ki Jai. Sri Radha Madan Mohan Ji ki Jai. Next slide, please.
Now we come to this wonderful place very near the camp that we are staying in. Walking distance. In fact, devotees, just 1 mile of distance, devotees would go and have darshan from in the morning at 7 o'clock. This is the abode of Sri Vrinda Devi, Srimati Vrinda Devi's headquarters, where she organizes and manages all of his pastimes of Sri Radha and Krishna. Next slide, please. This is the beautiful Sri Vrinda Devi ki Jai. Very graceful, very beautiful, very, very merciful. If we just pray to her with sincerity to please engage us in the service of Krishna, just that's our only desire, to be engaged in some service, some to chant intensely, to preach to whoever we can. And if we can pray sincerely, she will definitely reciprocate with the sincerity of the devotees. Srimati Vrinda Devi ki jai.
The worship of this temple is actually under ISKCON by the arrangement of many Brajvasi ISKCON devotees. So we're Dinabandhu Prabhu mainly. So this temple is the devotees are worshipping Vrinda Devi here. So in NandaGaon, this is very, very wonderful that this service of Srimati Vrinda Devi is under the service of ISKCON.
And it was actually under the service of Babaji Maharaj long time back. And Dinabandhu Prabhu tells this pastime that he he was inspired by Srimati Vrinda Devi to approach ISKCON. And Dinabandhu Prabhu then took this project seriously and he revived the glory of Vrinda Kund and the deity of Srimati Vrinda Devi. And now ISKCON devotees are stay here to maintain the deity and the worship and the service of Srimati Vrinda Devi ki jai.
Jai. Next slide, please. So when we visited, this place actually is filled with parrots. Every branch of every tree would at least have 10-15 parrots. So many parrots in this area is amazing to watch. Next slide, please. So here we can see Prabhu, who is sitting right in front of Vrinda Devi, chanting his japa. And if you notice Prabhu's left hand, he has a white bandage around his left hand. So when we were in Barsana, somehow by the mercy of Srimati Radharani, Prabhu had developed almost 102 temperature, 2 degrees temperature, 102 degrees temperature. And he had to take in, over the next 3 days, he had to take in 15 injections. And he had saline that was running. But by Srimati Radharani's mercy, he did not have to leave the camp. In the camp, we had amazing doctor devotees who were able to come and treat Prabhu. They actually, in the tent itself, they put the saline, the glucose water running, and they, expertly just, treated Prabhu. And every day they would put, 5-6 injections to him. And he was fit. He did not even have to miss even one day of Parikrama. And this was really the sincerity of Prabhu that, even with this, so now he has that saline line that was running. So that's why you see the bandage in his hand. But Srimati Radharani, Vrinda Devi, they allowed, Prabhu to continue and never interrupted his, his Parikrama Yatra. So if we have the sincere desire, how Srimati Radharani fulfills it, we have seen with our practical experience. Where we have sincere desire, Srimati Radharani definitely comes and fulfills the desire.
And this is just because of the inspiration of so many devotees who are there. There is a doctor. There are so many doctors who are there in the Vrajmandal Parikrama who take care of the devotees. I know actually to say Kalasudha, she almost sprained her foot right before Vrajmandal Parikrama. And we were all surprised what to do now. And Kalasudha said, no, she will walk with a sprained foot. She continued all 30 days of Vrajmandal Parikrama. And somewhere in between,
Giriraj Parikrama,
during Giriraj Parikrama, she again sprained it on the sprain, and it got better. It got cured and it got better. And even Ma Baba, they had so much what you call puska and blisters, but the doctors would treat every time, and even with those blisters, so many devotees, they were walking without any footwear, and they had blisters, still they would keep going. This is just by the inspiration, the energy that is there of all the devotees performing Vrajmandal Parikrama together. It's just amazing and just so energizing with spiritual energy. That it brings us, lifts us out of a bodily consciousness. That is the glory of Shri Vrajmandal Parikrama. Next slide, please.
So here are Ma Baba at Shri Vrinda Kunda. So this was on the day of Srila Prabhupada disappearance day, and very wonderful Vrinda Kunda. We actually went in the evening to take darshan. You can see the sun is setting and we are at Shri Vrinda Kunda. Next slide, please. And here we are just under some parrots. The parrots were flying away from us, seeing us. Some were coming in, some were flying. Too many parrots in this place. So here we are at Shri Vrinda Kunda. Jai Shri Vrinda Kunda ki jai.
Next slide, please. And then finally, we come to Krishna's lotus footprint here in NandaGaon. Once when Krishna was playing his flute on the top of this hill, Hearing the tender and sweet sound of Krishna's flute, the mountain again melted in ecstasy, and impressions of Krishna's lotus footprints appeared here. We saw a similar Charan Pahari that we saw earlier. This is the lotus footprint of Krishna. Next
So
slide.
if you zoom in, you can see on the, I'm trying to show it to myself, but it's right there. One lotus footprint, with the 5 fingers impression, 5 toes impression, the entire lotus feet is right there like this.
In the top quadrant, if you divide it into 4 halves, the top right quadrant, you can see Krishna's lotus footprint.
Lotus footprint. Jai Shri Krishna Kanhaiya Lal ki jai.
Next slide, please.
So this is how when Krishna was playing his flute, that stone melted. Haribol. Next slide, please. So tonight we will be staying at NandaGaon. We have arrived from Barsana to Sri NandaGaon, and we will be staying here at Sri NandaGaon tonight. Actually, just in between, our campsite is right in between Krishna's lotus feet, Charan Pahari, and Vrinda Kunda. Right in between that is where we are going to be staying camped at NandaGaon. Next slide, please. So this is our journey. We are stopped here for tonight at Sri NandaGaon. Next slide, please. So these are the places that we visited today. Prema Sarovar. Next slide, please. Prema Sarovar, and then Sanket, Uddhav, Kyari, then of course how Bilau, Nanda, Baithak. Then we took darshan of Krishna, Balaram, and then Pavan Sarovar, Vrinda, Kunda, and Krishna's lotus footprint. So we can end our slideshow here. So today we thought that because we are in NandaGaon, we can again, some devotees requested us to sing Choti Choti Gaiya, Chote Chote Gwal. So can we please have the lyrics of Choti Choti Gaiya, Chote Chote Gwal?
Choti choti gaiya, chote chote gwal, chota so mero madan gopal.
Choti choti gaiya, chote chote gwal, chota so mero madan gopal.
आगे आगे गैया, पीछे पीछे ग्वाल, बीच में मेरो
मदन गोपाल.
आगे आगे गैया, पीछे पीछे ग्वाल, बीच में मेरो
मदन गोपाल. छोटी छोटी गैया, छोटे छोटे
ग्वाल, छोटा सा मेरो
मदन गोपाल.
काली काली गैया, गोरे गोरे ग्वाल, श्याम वरण मेरो
मदन गोपाल.
काली काली ग्वालिया, गोरे गोरे ग्वाल, श्याम वरण मेरो मदन गोपाल.
छोटी छोटी गैया, छोटे छोटे ग्वाल,
छोटा सा मेरो मदन गोपाल.
छोटी छोटी गैया, छोटे छोटे ग्वाल,
छोटा सा मेरो
मदन गोपाल.
रास्ता में गैया, दूध पीते ग्वाल, माखन खायो मेरे मदन गोपाल. रास्ता में गैया, दूध पीते ग्वाल, माखन खायो मेरे मदन गोपाल.
छोटी छोटी गैया, छोटे छोटे
ग्वाल, छोटा सा मेरो
मदन गोपाल.
छोटी छोटी लकुटी, छोटे छोटे हाथ, बंसी बजायो मेरो मदन गोपाल. छोटी छोटी लकुटी, छोटी छोटी हाथ, बंसी बजायो मेरो मदन गोपाल.
छोटी छोटी गैया, छोटे छोटे ग्वाल,
छोटा सा छोटा सा मेरो मदन गोपाल, छोटी छोटी सैया, छोटी छोटी ग्वाल, छोटा सा मेरो मदन गोपाल, छोटी छोटी सखिया मधुबन बाल, रस रचावे मेरो मदन गोपाल, छोटी छोटी सखिया मधुबन बाल, रस रचावे मेरो मदन गोपाल, छोटी छोटी गैया छोटी छोटी ग्वाल, छोटा सा मेरो मदन गोपाल, छोटी छोटी गैया छोटी छोटी ग्वाल, छोटा सा मेरो मदन गोपाल, हरे कृष्णा कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, छोटी छोटी गैया छोटे छोटे ग्वाल, छोटा सा मेरो मदन गोपाल। जय श्री NandaGaon की
जय,
श्री श्री कृष्ण बलराम की
जय,
श्री नंद यशोदा मैया की
जय,
श्रील प्रभुपाद की
जय,
श्रील गुरुदेव की जय।
jai. So today we have our quiz questions. It is a combination from yesterday and today. So first question.
What is the name of the seventh forest of Vrindavan? Second, which demon was killed by Krishna in this forest?
Third, how did Prem Sarovar manifest? Fourth, what's the meaning of Prema by Chitti?
Fifth, what's the significance of Sanket Gaon? Sixth, how was Uddhava able to find the way to Nanda Bhavan?
Seventh, what did Srimati Radharani say to the bumblebee? Eighth, what did Uddhava desire after seeing the love of the gopis?
Ninth, what's the name of the place where Uddhava met with the gopis? And 10th, what's the significance of Nanda Baithak?
11th, who is how Bilau? And 12th, who appeared at Nandeshwar Parvat? Who appeared as Nandeshwar Parvat, and what do the peaks represent? Jai, thank you so much for these beautiful quiz questions. So now we can open the lines for
Questions and
questions
comments?
and comments. Kirti. Can we open the lines?
Hare Krishna Mataji Prabhuji Dandavat Pranam. All glories to Srila Prabhupada Guru and Gauranga. I really liked today's class, Mataji and Prabhuji. I don't have any questions today, but I have some comments to make. So, one place I liked was NandaGaon and Prema Sarovar, and I think Sanket and Pavan Sarovar. I like all those places, and I also like the I forgot his name. It's the Mabua or something, Habua or something.
How Bilau.
How Bilau. I really like the story and all the pictures with Krishna and Radharani. Thank you, Mataji and Prabhuji, for an amazing session today. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Beta. Thank you so much for your comments. Thank you. We love them. Thank you. Bhakti Priya?
Hare Krishna Mataji and Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. So
Yeah.
today I have one question that we are serving Krishna with the help of deity, fort or in temple. By serving him, we are getting so much of love, happiness, and attachment. So if we serve him really, like in Goloka, if we serve gopis and other devotees and Krishna really, we can get more happiness, right? So
Absolutely.
yeah, we were in Goloka before this Kali Yuga starts, right, Mataji?
We don't know. Maybe you were, but we were definitely. At least I was here for many millions and millions of lifetimes.
Or we will be serving him. You in past times he was doing so many pastimes. We were included that. So like that, why we came here into this material world? Yeah, I have. I know that we had false ego and we came here, and how that false ego came into our mind. In Goloka, that's not allowed, at right? That things that and all, how it came, and even though we have ego, why by serving him we are getting love and happiness, but why that ego came into our mind? Will you please explain that?
Oh, that's a very wonderful question, Bhakti
Very
Priya.
nice question, but very deep question. Actually, it is said that Mamaivamsho Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. Krishna says in 15th chapter that Mamaivamsho, all the living beings are my part and parcels. So the part and parcel has the same quality as the whole. Just like a drop of the ocean is also H2O, and the ocean is also H2O. The quality is the same. The small part of gold and gold will have the same quality. The spark of fire and fire itself will have the same quality. Similarly, us living beings have the same quality of Krishna. And Krishna, the first verse of Srimad Bhagavatam explains that that he is the source of everything, and he is Abhigya Swarat. He is fully independent. He has full free will. Now, because we are his part and parcels, we also have the same quality as him. We also have free will. He has a large amount of unlimited free will, unlimited independence. We have small independence. And Krishna gives that free will and that independence so that we can independently choose to love him. Because love cannot happen on gunpoint. Love means I have a choice not to love you, but I still choose to love you. So most of the part and parcels of Krishna, the living beings, they choose to love him. But still we have a choice. Every moment we have a choice, even in the spiritual world, because we have that independence given by Krishna as we are his part and parcel. So those who choose their independence, thinking that, well, why should Krishna be the only enjoyer? And I have to participate in his enjoyment. I want to enjoy separately. Bhagavad Gita, 7th chapter, Krishna says, Ichha dvesha samuthena dvandva mohena bharata. As soon as Ichha and dvesha, desire and envy, come into our mind, come into the soul, dvandva mohena, immediately he is captured into dualities, heat and cold, happiness and distress. So from the absolute realm, they are we came to this material world, and that's because of the independence that Krishna gives. So we desire, we want to enjoy separately from you, Krishna. We are enjoying with you, but we want to try enjoying separately from you as well. And so Krishna does not stop us. Krishna does not, he facilitates our desire. He says, okay, you have free will. I have given you my free will. I don't want to force you to love me or participate in my enjoyments, but you are my part and parcel. You can only be happy if you participate. If you don't want to, if you want to enjoy yourself, the best I can do is I can put you into illusion. And so Krishna puts us into a sleep, and we are actually still in the spiritual world with Krishna. Prabhupada says, but we are just sleeping in the dream state. And this whole thing that we are seeing is in our dream state. I mean, it is real, but it's when we go back, when we wake up to the spiritual reality, we'll feel this is just a nightmare. This is just a dream. And here, just like in a dream, sometimes we think that tiger is chasing us. We really think it's true. Tiger is chasing and we are sweating. But people who are actually seeing us sleeping, they're like, why is this person sweating? And what's going on? Everything's okay. That's how we are actually still with Krishna in the spiritual world. It's just that we have we want to be in this illusion, in this dream, in the dormant state where we are going in a roller coaster rides between one lifetime to another lifetime to another lifetime and so many different lifetimes. So,
Prabhuji, but our soul is here, right? Then how we are dreaming there, or our mind?
the spiritual world is a location, yes, but it is a state of consciousness. Actually, this is spiritual world also, but we are not, we are still in the sleep state. It's not like it's somewhere else, like Srila Prabhupada. He could, even in New York, where there were such dirty places, he could see Vrindavan there. He could see Goloka Vrindavan there. Because Goloka Vrindavan is a state of consciousness. Of course, it's a place, but it's a state of consciousness where time, distance, all these things don't matter. They matter in this material world. But when the soul is not bound by time, soul is not bound by distance. So, we think here is us, and somewhere in space is the spiritual world. No, spiritual world is beyond that realm. We can actually experience spiritual world sitting right here if we wake up to that spiritual reality. Jiva jago, Jiva jago, Gaura Chandra bole. Why is he telling us to wake up? He's not telling us go to spiritual world, go to spiritual world. He's telling, no, wake up to the spiritual reality and you'll see the spiritual world right here. You'll experience it right here. You don't have to die and go to the spiritual world, or you don't have to. It is here. It is not bound by time or distance or any of the material restrictions.
And that is called as going back home, back to Godhead. What Prabhupada referred to as going back home, back to Godhead. And the way that we are eternally existing in the spiritual world is in our spiritual bodies. Our spiritual bodies are there. Our eternal, forms in which we are serving Krishna, that is always there in the spiritual world. It is never unmanifest.
It's like if we have a dream, and in that dream you are asking your mother mother, where is our home? Now from the dream you are asking where is home. Your mother is saying your home is right here. You are in the home. But because we are in the dream, we think, oh, home is somewhere else. Actually, we just wake up, we are there. So if in the dream we are saying something, but actually we are right there. Does that make sense? Like in the dream, if you ask your mother, I want to go back home, I want to go back home. And your mother would say, we are at home because you're sleeping at home actually. But we are dreaming like that. So we are in the spiritual world. Even now we are in the spiritual world. We just don't realize it because of Krishna's illusory Maya sleeping potency that he has covered us with. And when we chant Hare Krishna, when we beg and pray, please wake me up, please, I want to wake up to the spiritual reality, then Krishna will test us. Do you really want to? And then when he's convinced, we wake up and say, oh, I was always in the spiritual world. I am right now. That's what Srila Prabhupada was trying to tell us, because
Yes.
he was experiencing that spiritual reality, and he's telling you guys, you are suffering here, you don't even know. And look, I'm experiencing that spiritual reality. You can experience also. Wake up, chant Hare Krishna.
Reawaken. That's what Srila Prabhupada would always say. Reawaken your lost Krishna consciousness. Means if it is not there within us, why would Srila Prabhupada say reawaken? Means it is there inside us, but we've forgotten about it. That's the only problem.
Problem is forgetfulness of Krishna. So slowly, if we continue chanting, serving devotees, preaching, telling Krishna by our actions and words and deeds, that we want to come back to you, we want to wake up, then Krishna wakes us up.
Hope that answers your question, beta.
Yes, Mataji and Prabhuji, thank you very much for answering this question. And I have another question that before this Kali Yuga ends, we have gone to Krishna. We have already gone to Krishna. Then after Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapar Yuga, then again Kali Yuga comes, right? Then again we will come here.
No, it's not like after Kali Yuga we will go back to spiritual world. It's not like that. After Kali Yuga, we will go back into the body of Vishnu, Mahavishnu, in the sleeping state. And then we'll come back, but it's not Vaikuntha, it's not spiritual world. It's in the body of Vishnu in the same state where we were at the end of Kali Yuga. And then next Satyuga, we again come back and continue from where we left. We don't go to spiritual world. Spiritual world we will go only if we become pure devotees, or by the mercy of a devotee. Then we can go, we can reawaken to the spiritual reality wherever we are,
And
or go to
Krishna,
Vaikuntha. But otherwise, we are here. But once you wake up to that spiritual reality, once
you
you
don't have.
wake up in the spiritual world, then Krishna says, Yad gatvana nivartante tad dhama paramam mama. That once you go there, you will not come back. We will still have the independence to choose to come, but it's like if a child accidentally touches fire, then his hand gets burnt. Then next time, even though he can touch fire, he has the free will to touch fire, but he will not, because he has had that experience. So even though we have the independence, we will not make that mistake again, because it was like a big nightmare. Oh, I don't want to experience that nightmare again. And so the soul will not come back, will not choose to come back. Yad gatva na nivartante tad dhama paramam mama. But as your question is, after Kali Yuga we go to spiritual world, then how will we come back? We don't go to spiritual world by default after Kali Yuga. We go only when we have been becoming a pure devotee, or by mercy of.
Thank you, Prabhuji Mataji.
Thank
Hare
you for
Krishna.
nice questions. Hari Bol. Thank you, Bhakti Priya. Any more
Thank
questions?
you. And Mataji, that Tulasi Maharani, why she become a plant? Is there any specific reason? Like
Yes,
Ganga Mai, they have.
we will be sharing that pastime. There's a very long story. So sometime soon we will be sharing that pastime also. Okay.
Okay, Mataji. Thank you, Prabhuji
And
and Mataji. Hare Krishna. Hari Bol.
Rasika,
Hare Krishna Mataji Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Dandavat pranam to both of you. Thank you so much for this blissful parikrama every day, Prabhuji and Mataji. And I really loved all the places today. Especially, I was touched by the wonderful narration between, like when Uddhava visited NandaGaon, like when he reached one Nanda Bhavan, he saw that the palace appeared very deserted, and how Yashoda Maya and Nanda Baba, they were so lifeless, without like they were in separation of Krishna, and they were just maintaining their life. So that realization I got from this is how similarly without Krishna, how our life is so meaningless, and the goal of our life should be just serving Krishna and his devotees, and how our desire should be to fulfill the desire of Krishna and his devotees. And but we are so fallen, at least I am so fallen, that I don't realize this, and I don't take my devotional life very seriously. Also, I like the Prem Sarovar pastime a lot, and it was so heart touching to hear the pastime from both of you. And I remember once when we visited Pavan Sarovar. So in the nearby, there was a temple close by, and we were fortunate to have prasadam from a Brajabasi Bengali family there. So I was really, I remember that. And there were in the temple there were deities of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and I think Radha Krishna also. So
Yes,
I
that's a
just
Gaudiya
remember
Math.
that.
That's a
Sorry?
Gaudiya Math on the banks of the
Yeah, Gaudiya Math.
on the
Yes,
banks
yes.
of the Pavan Sarovar.
Yeah,
Yes.
and there was a beautiful Bengali family that served us so lovingly the
Yeah.
prasadam. So I really
Yeah.
remembered. Thank you so much, Mataji and Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam.
Thank you. Thank you. Hare Krishna. So there's a question by Parameshwari that which forest we are in Barsana and in NandaGaon. You see, there are certain places like Barsana, but like NandaGaon, also like Sheshashai, places like Shergarh. These are, like they are called as upavanas, or, there is, different categories of, forests of Vrindavan. So Nandagaon, Unchagaon, Barsana, all these places, they form the category of a separate category. They don't fall under the 12 forests of Vrindavan. That's why, the Khadirwan area is different. Then when we come to, Barsana, it is Barsana. Barsana in itself is an area which is, it doesn't come under the 12 forests of Vrindavan. So that is how it is explained. So Barsana, Nandagaon, Shergarh, Sheshashai, all these are, unique places in Vrindavan, in Vrajamandal. Also, when we will go to Ramakhat, from Sheshashai we will go to, Shergarh, we will go to Ramghat. That is also, a separate upavan of Sri Vrajamandala. So that is how it is explained. I hope that clarifies your question. Thank you so much. Any other questions? Thank you, Parameshwari. Hare Krishna.
Okay, there are no more questions. We can end here. Thank you very much. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhuveva patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha.
So tomorrow we will go from NandaGaon. We will go to Kokilavan. Kokilavan is again another upavan of Krishna, of Vrajamandala. So we will go to Kokilavan. So it's a very, very wonderful place, very important place. So we look forward to seeing all of you again tomorrow for our Parikrama session. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Srila Prabhupada ki
Hare
jai.
Krishna Mataji.
Ishan Vartaman Guru Vrinda ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, thank you so much.
Thank
Hare
you.
Krishna, Mataji, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna Mataji Prabhuji, thank you so
Hare
much.
Krishna Mataji Prabhuji, koti koti dandavat pranam.
Dandavat Pranam. Hare Krishna. Thank you. Dandavat. Hare Krishna. Thank you.